Hey, health champions, welcome back. Today we're tackling a topic that literally hits close to home for everyone, the top 10 foods that are quietly destroying your heart. Now you might think you know this list. Saturated fat, right? Wrong. What if I told you that the common advice you hear about heart health is not only outdated but potentially harmful? Stick around, because we're about to expose the real culprits, and I promise, some of these will shock you. Here's why this matters so much. Cardiovascular disease isn't just a problem, it's the problem. We're talking heart attacks and strokes, claiming a staggering 18 million lives globally every single year. That's double the number 2 killer, cancer. And here's the kicker. There's very little disagreement that this disease is primarily caused by our food and lifestyle. So why are we still so confused about which foods are the real villains? If you do a quick Google search for foods that cause heart disease, you'll be flooded with results. 759 million to be exact. And almost all of them will tell you the same thing. Saturated fat is bad. They claim it raises LDL, bad cholesterol, leading to heart disease. But here's the bombshell. That's not how it works anymore. This myth was established 50, 60, even 70 years ago, and it stubbornly persists despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. In fact, people who eat good quality saturated fat actually live longer and have less heart disease. It can even help reverse existing conditions. Yet the mainstream mantra continues. Avoid animal products like butter, coconut oil, and lard. Don't eat beef, lamb, eggs, or bacon. All dairy should be non-fat or low-fat. This advice is a huge part of the problem. And then they throw in things like pastries and biscuits as an afterthought, not realizing these don't belong in the same category. Why? Because animal products contain stable, saturated fats that are good for you. Pastries, on the other hand, are loaded with highly processed vegetable fats that have been partially hydrogenated, turning them incredibly toxic. Plus, they're packed with sugar, preservatives, and modern grains. To truly understand what's destroying our hearts, we need to understand the real chain of causation. It's not about cholesterol, it's about damaged blood vessels. Little cracks and damage inside your arteries lead to plaque buildup, or blood clots that can cause strokes. So what causes this damage? Two key things: inflammation and oxidative stress. These are the silent destroyers within your body. And what causes inflammation and oxidative stress? For the vast majority of people, the number one driver is insulin resistance. This is the body's adaptation to an overload, causing both problems. While not the only cause, toxins, stress, and truly bad fats also play a role. Insulin resistance is the central issue for most. And what causes insulin resistance? You guessed it, sugar and those highly processed oils. Think of insulin resistance not as a disease, but as your body becoming overwhelmed. It's an adaptation, often completely reversible by changing your lifestyle. If you can reverse insulin resistance, you can often reverse conditions like type 2 diabetes. But to do that, you must avoid the foods that cause it. Kicking off our list at number 10 is rice. Now, it's not as bad as some others, but it can still be a problem. Here's why. All carbohydrates, including rice, break down into glucose, pure blood sugar. When blood sugar goes up, your body releases insulin to help get that sugar into your cells. It's a beautiful system, but only if you eat carbohydrates seasonally and in moderation. The big misconception? Complex carbs are good, sugar is bad. Fact check, they're the same thing. Starch, found in rice, potatoes, and grains, is just long chains of glucose. Wood and fiber are even made of glucose, just configured differently. So starch is 100% glucose, raising both blood sugar and insulin. But how could Asia eat rice for centuries? Historically, they didn't have an abundance of food. They ate rice, but not endless processed foods. They were physically active, ate fewer meals, and had no sugary drinks or highly processed items. Their bodies could handle it. But once you add rice to a modern diet full of processed foods, it becomes a problem. And if you're already insulin resistant, rice actively prevents reversal. Oh, and speaking of sugar, whether it's brown sugar, agave, honey, or high fructose corn syrup, it's all the same to your body. Different ratios of glucose and fructose, but they all cause insulin resistance. And fruit? It's not inherently bad, but if you're already metabolically unhealthy or insulin resistant, the sugar in fruit, glucose and fructose, is processed by your body just like any other sugar. Fruit is better than candy bars because of water and fiber, but the impact on blood sugar and insulin is the same. Eat your vegetables. Go easy on the fruit if you're trying to reverse disease. Starch, including corn, tapioca, and sorghum, is 100% sugar. Don't fall for gluten-free products that just replace wheat with other starches like rice flour. It's still all sugar. At number 9, we have bread. Everything we said about rice applies here, but bread is often worse. The starch and insulin response are the same, but allergies to wheat and gluten are far more common. Poor gut health due to these allergies creates inflammation, directly contributing to cardiovascular disease. Even if you don't test positive for a gluten allergy, try cutting it out and see the difference. Coming in at number 8 is alcohol. In small amounts, it's natural. We have enzymes to break it down. But in excess, it overwhelms your liver, the only organ that can process it. When you overload the liver, you develop fatty liver disease. And here's a crucial point. Fructose, found in table sugar, sucrose is half glucose, half fructose, acts just like alcohol in your liver. A little is fine, but excess fructose from soda, candy, and processed foods also leads to fatty liver and insulin resistance, setting the tone for metabolic issues throughout your body. If you are going to drink, pure liquor, gin, vodka, whiskey, is generally better because it's distilled and sugar-free. Wine has some sugar but less after fermentation. Beer has a lot of carbohydrates. But the absolute worst, mixed drinks loaded with added sugar. You're hitting your liver with a double whammy of alcohol and sugar. Honestly, sugar is probably worse than alcohol because it's so addictive, and you often don't realize how much you're consuming. Number 7, ultra-processed foods. Think about it. Whole foods are natural: meat, nuts, eggs, fish, vegetables, fruit. But when food is chopped, dried, pulverized, and stuffed into a box, it becomes ultra-processed. 50 years ago, less than 10% of our diet was ultra-processed. Today in the US, it's a staggering 73% of calories. Many other countries are catching up, hitting 50% or more. These foods are loaded with sugar, toxic chemicals, preservatives, and flavor agents designed to make you crave more. They use cheap seed oils, often hydrogenated, which makes them stable on the shelf but toxic to your body. Plus, they're devoid of nutrients. Manufacturers strip out nutrients because they react with air and heat, shortening shelf life. The result? We're overfed and undernourished. We get tons of calories, but none of the building blocks our bodies actually need. This leads to us overeating, getting clogged up, and developing poor metabolic health and insulin resistance. Stop putting the junk in, and your body can start to heal. At number 6, fast food. It's a type of processed food, but often disguised as real food because it contains some meat, a bun, and a few veggies. But look closer. That bun is pure sugar, starch. The dressings are full of seed oils and sugar. The potatoes are fried in reused seed oils. And then they sell you a soda or milkshake to go with it, adding even more sugar. I recently did an experiment. 100 hamburger patties in 10 days, mostly with salads. Contrasted with eating the same 2,500 calories at a fast food restaurant, the difference was terrifying. That fast food meal would give you over 300 grams of carbohydrates and 150 grams of added sugar per day. Fast food might claim to meet recommended macros, but they conveniently leave out the massive amounts of sugar and bad fats. Now for number 5, seed oils. Why do I bash them but recommend olive oil? Huge difference. Seed oils, soybean, canola, corn, are incredibly high in omega-6 fatty acids. We need some, but they need to be in balance with omega-3s, ideally 1:1. Most seed oils give you a 20:1 ratio, making them highly pro-inflammatory. It's tough to get oil out of seeds. They use immense pressure, high heat, and often chemical solvents like acetone. This process damages the fats, making them oxidized and rancid. Then they bleach, degum, and deodorize them, resulting in a bland, destroyed oil that can sit on a shelf for years. Contrast this with extra virgin olive oil or cold-pressed coconut oil. Olives and coconuts are naturally high in fat, so a little pressure extracts the oil without destroying it. These are minimally processed and perfectly fine. Even cold-pressed organic canola oil is different from the highly processed version. These healthier oils often have a stronger, more natural flavor, which is a good thing. At number 4, fried food. Again, it's not the frying itself, but the oil. Most fried foods use those same harshly processed, bland vegetable oils. And as if that's not bad enough, these oils are often reused and reheated repeatedly, staying at high temperatures all day. This further oxidizes and rancidifies the oil, creating massive oxidative stress in your body. If you want to fry something occasionally, use stable, heat-resistant fats like lard, tallow, or coconut oil. These saturated fats don't go rancid or oxidize when exposed to heat and air. You can even keep coconut oil on your counter for months. Sliding in at number 3 is margarine. While it's taken a step back lately, it's still a huge problem. Most margarines are made from the same problematic oils, and to turn an oil into a spreadable solid, they have to hydrogenate it. It used to be partially hydrogenated, which created trans fats, incredibly toxic substances that poison your mitochondria, the energy factories within your cells. Trans fats are now largely banned, and manufacturers must disclose them. But here's the dirty secret. You'll still see partially hydrogenated on labels, yet trans fat free on the front. How? They reduce the serving size so that as long as there's less than 0.4999 grams of trans fat per serving, they can round it down to 0. It's not truly trans fat free, you're still getting significant amounts, which can be a huge problem. Understand these sneaky labeling tricks. At number 2, we have donuts. This isn't just about donuts, it's about understanding the principles behind why certain foods are bad. Donuts combine virtually every bad thing on this list. They're packed with sugar and starch from flour, often contain gluten, causing allergies, and are fried in those terrible seed oils. They even have oil in the dough. It's like they actively tried to combine all the worst elements. The only thing missing is alcohol, and that would probably cook out anyway. Plus, they're loaded with artificial flavors and chemicals. And finally, the number 1 food that is destroying your heart: sugar. While donuts combine many bad factors, sugar is the single worst food because it's everywhere. It's empty calories with zero nutrition. It disrupts almost every metabolic process in your body. 50% of sugar is fructose, which acts like alcohol, creating fatty liver. Most bad foods have a limit. You eat a few bites, and you're done. But sugar, it's incredibly addictive. You can drink a 2-liter bottle of soda, a gallon of sweet tea, and still want more because it leaves you feeling no sense of fullness. And the biggest problem? It's hidden in so many things. Soda, cookies, ice cream, yes, but also barbecue sauce, often sweeter than Coca-Cola, and virtually all processed foods. Sugar is ubiquitous, and that's why it's the ultimate heart destroyer. Remember, everything we've talked about today is bad, because it directly contributes to inflammation, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance. And here's the empowering truth. Almost all the foods you're told cause heart disease are actually fine if you cut out the real culprits we discussed today. If you found this video eye-opening, you're going to love our other content. To truly master your health by understanding how your body really works, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a life-saving video.